night long. Just like me on the black and white ivory. Getting 6 on a T-Delete. You don't wanna see a G break, yo. It's like dishes, buster tricks. Sleep with the fishes. Running from Lennox up at Venice. They wanna have me in stripes like Dennis the Menace. But that ain't poppin', ain't no stopping. Faux hopping, dropping, coup de ville. My truth can heal. Fool, I got skills. So back on up, boy, I check that chin. Down as and I'm full off hand. You gets no love, and I thought you knew it. Fool, you know how we do it. Coming from the west side, coming from the west side.
KBLA Talk 1580. Happy Thursday. Lots of room for you right now. Call me. If you got something to say, call me. 800-920-1580. We're having caller amnesty for if you know, you know. That means if you called before, you get a pass right now. You get a International Workers of the World Day pass. And as we stand in solidarity with workers who are asking for raises, who are marching in these streets, and who are pushing back against the clearly anti-union, anti-working class agenda of this administration. That is real. If you thought it was hyperbole, now you know it ain't, because we are watching it unfold in real time. And Miles, you got that ice cube going. You're feeling your LA right now. I'm guessing Vegas is West Coast, right? Vegas is considered West Side.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I always considered it as such, but you never know what folks from the town, from the region feel. And it's confusing because you are from Vegas, but you're a Philadelphia football fan.
Yep.
And a Lakers basketball fan.
Yep. Rough night for them.
Yeah.
Cancun on 3. Cancun on me. No, I'm gonna fight back on what my man Ray Richardson just said on the sports report, saying that he thinks that we saw LeBron's last game. I don't believe so. I think that LeBron wouldn't do that to the league. I think LeBron wants that farewell tour, goodbye, one last time. So I'm pretty sure he'll be back next year. I don't know what the team's going to look like. I don't know if the coach is going to be there. But I'm pretty sure LeBron and LeBron Jr. will be on the team next year.
I mean, he's in a 2-year deal, right? So he's still signed for another year, right?
Oh, yeah, for what, $68 million? I'm sure he'll be back.
I mean, whack LeBron is better than most people, right?
Well, I think he's also said that when he can't give his all to the game, whether it's mentally or physically, he won't disrespect the game. I believe that. But I don't believe that he'll just walk away after a playoff loss.
So you're saying he might come back and not play out a season?
I'm sure he'll come back and play out a season, but I'm saying I don't think he'll just walk off the field and never come back to the game after last night's performance. I'm sure he'll come back and at least give another shot. But if he starts getting into the season and he realizes that he doesn't have it anymore, he has lost that step, his mental focus for the game may be a little late, his knees, his body may break down, whatever it may be next year, cool, but I don't think he's going to give it up after last night.
I mean, here's the thing. I love our boy, Ray Richardson, our sports guy. He's so funny and he does a great job, but he's bipolar when it comes to the Lakers, especially LeBron. 1 minute he's saying he's the greatest thing ever, and the next minute he's saying he's old and washed up. And that can be a sports report from Tuesday to Wednesday. I mean, and so I don't, he's 40 years old. I get that that's old for the NBA, but the way that he trains, the way that he takes care of his body, the technology that we have now for training and injuries, and the way that he, is mindful of his nutrition and all that. 40 now, 40, 2025 is not 40, in 2000.
The thing is, though, all those training sessions and ice baths and massages don't take any miles off that body, though. It just helps extend it, but man, like it's going to have to end eventually, though. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be playing when he's 60. I get that, or 50. But I think the way people like to throw that out there, like he's 40, it's over. I know it doesn't take miles off your body, but it can, it can preserve your game. And I know legs are legs, and you only, your legs wear out. But especially a fast game like basketball.
No,
But I just think people are so quick to predict his demise, and I feel like it's been happening for the past 5 years or so.
right. Well, I say this though, because he has clearly slowed down. He's clearly not the jumper he was. Clearly not the defender. But I think that what the evolution of his game is what's impressive, because he can his mind is so far ahead of where everybody else's mind is. He's seen so many different eras of the NBA and won so many different ways, and so many different tools in his tool belt to choose from, that he doesn't have to be the athletic freak that he's been most of his life. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I think that it is important that his mind is as sharp as can be, because the kids are getting faster. They're jumping higher. They're getting taller. They're shooting further. There's more stuff to.
Yeah, there is that. But look, the other thing is that, yes, everyone's getting better. Everyone's getting faster. I'm just saying, like, why do we're not giving people the credit for the greatness or their runs. And I know legs only got so long, but also I've watched basketball, and I don't claim to be an expert. In fact, I'm much less of an expert than I was 10 years ago when I used to have time to watch games. I'm just saying that, all veterans get more wily. That's what I've noticed. As people, especially great players, are in the game for a longer time, they do play differently. Yeah. Just like you do life differently. I don't play basketball, but I don't chase every ball like I used to either.
But they're asking him to, though. He played 46 out of 48 minutes the other night.
But is that on him, or is that on the Lakers?
It's on the Lakers, because he has to do that. If he doesn't do that, they don't lose by 3 points. They lose by 23 points. You know what I mean? So all that just to lose, just to get knocked out, I get it, Brian.
Yeah.
That's him, though.
Well, Molly Bell says you have a point. She agrees with you, Miles. She says he ain't going to let that be the last time we see him be a beatdown. And she says the coach was inept. Look, people lose their jobs when stuff like this happens, first round exits. People lose their jobs. That's sports. It comes down to stats. Actually, that's entertainment too. A lot of the time, what were your ratings? Who was watching? Who cared? How's your brand? That's why people do dumb stuff to be relevant. But doing dumb stuff to be relevant doesn't work in sports, because you still have to deliver.
Right, it's wins losses game for sure.
Yeah.
The thing is too, I want to also just put it out there. LeBron already has records for most minutes ever played, most games ever played, playoff and in regular season, most points. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been in the league longer than he has not been in the league of high intensity, full-fledged, full-pace NBA basketball, y'all. So, I hope that everybody has been enjoying what we've been seeing, because it's not going to be here forever. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Remember, when I first came to LA, when I started working at the Beat during Street Science, we had really great tickets to the Lakers. That's when I became a basketball fan, and I don't think I savored watching Kobe as much as I should have. In hindsight, this is not just regular, basketball. This is history. You're watching, we're watching historical greats. Do you agree with Paul Lee? He says you only get so many jumps out of these knees, and also he's probably mentally fatigued. But he also says JJ Redick's ego cost my Lakers that series.
I'll say you can blame J.J. Redick, but, that's a team decision to bring J.J. Redick. We knew who J.J. Redick was. We know he's a first-time head coach, period. Not just NBA head coach. He never head coached, period. You know what I mean? So for the Lakers to agree to have that be the person calling your shots for you in the playoffs, I'm not surprised that, that's what the turnout was. I thought the players would have been good enough, but I can't put all the blame on J.J. Redick. No, the players got to get out there and perform. Bench got to perform. And, Luka got sick a couple times in this series, so it'd be like that.
I love that he paid to restore that Kobe Bryant mural that was vandalized. I think that that's kind of like a way of bonding. Let me say that. Let me not say what I was thinking. Okay, let me say what I was thinking. He got jumped into LA.
Got put on, man. Put on to the crypto.
I mean, at least he knows that he's got to, he's got to show some LA love. He really doesn't have to, because all you have to do is be great, right? But we appreciate it.
I mean, okay, well, his thing, though, too, there's been a lot of great players that have come and gone in that purple and gold,
Wow, that's a good point.
And, Luka's a great player and will be a great player, but there have been some also all-time great players wearing that purple and gold. So if you want to be up there with them and not just the jersey retiring, you know what I mean? But if you want to be that type of player, that legend, yeah, you got to do that.
If you want to have murals all over LA.
Yeah, murals everywhere. It's Kobe murals, Magic murals, Kareem murals, Bron murals, Shaq.
Yeah, that's LA love. You get murals. It's like Nipsey. He got murals everywhere. He got murals in neighborhoods that I'm sure don't listen. The people probably don't even know who he is. Who that band with the braids? It's all good. That's LA love. That's
or even the other hoods that know who he is was like, that's Nip, man. He got to stay. We got to keep that. So
yeah, for sure that. Look, caller amnesty in effect, 800-920-1580. Let's talk about it. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The mic is open, and it's only right here.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality, because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial, because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining, where you're praying for a miracle, and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is, we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. Baby! The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Conversation continues now. The phone lines are open at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, inviting you in to speak your mind, to inspire and uplift one another, to track what's going on, and to just have a little fun, man. I hate it when my teams lose. I always feel sad. I feel like, we could have stayed. Oh, if only, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But at the same time, we live to fight another day. And you have to look at greatness in a big picture, not just day to day. That's what I know.
Yeah, and like I said, are some great teams in the NFL, in the NBA. There's some great players. Shout out Anthony Edwards. Young man's really looking like the face of the league right now. He said he didn't want to be the face of the league, but he's looking like he could be the face of the league from the court perspective. And then, this fool took himself after the game, went outside of crypto with security, and was just trolling Laker fans all night. So, shout out to AE, man. I like the spirit of that, man. He got that dog.
Is it? I don't want to be the face of the game because being the face of the game is a setup.
Probably like want the media perspective of it.
It feels like a setup to me. That hot spotlight. I mean, it's like we were talking about Shedeur Sanders, and it's like, well, in a way, he got a gift because by going so far down in the draft, anything he does, is an upgrade, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that should take you out of being the face of anything or having any expectation placed on you.
And the real ballers know too that a chip on your shoulder is not always a bad thing to have.
Oh yeah, something to prove.
Something to fight for.
I don't think I have a chip on my shoulder, but I feel like I still have something to prove after decades on the mic. Keeps you crispy.
It keeps you wanting to get better too.
yeah, learning, improving. Let's go to Carl calling us from LA. Good morning, Carl.
Hey, Dominique, how you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Great. Well, better luck next time, Jeannie Buss. What are you going to do now? Sell the team to a Magic Johnson? That would be a good thing.
What? Are you a Clipper fan?
Yeah, I am.
See, I heard it in your voice because that was pure hater spit on the mic.
They going to get theirs tonight.
Hey, I've been in L.A. since the old Baldwin Theater and Devil's Dip and Sportsman Park. But hey,
I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we used to go to the sports arena all the time and catch them Lakers way back in the day. Early, that
were you hating on them back then?
No. We used to be able to get in for free, and it was great. But if they can't even do that now at a sports arena, you'll go to jail for 99 years trying to sneak in.
Yeah, especially in L.A. with our current rather enthusiastic district attorney.
Yeah. Hey, Dominique, I was just trying to say, hey, look, everybody's trying to find a way to, make a living. It needs to be more jobs out here with these churches. I remember back in the 70s, them churches would line you up with a job. I just heard your minister on the horn just a minute ago. Maybe he's got some work to get us inside crypto, get some janitorial jobs, bartender. That's the kind of stuff I do, janitorial work, security. Maybe he can come up with something.
I'm not sure what
over at that new stadium.
I know that the past Bishop Manning does try to place some of the homeless people that he works with in jobs. I don't know that he's doing general job placement. Some churches are. But I learned something as part of the Hawthorne Business Expo that I didn't know. I think it's governmentjobs.com. And it's governmentjobs.com and schooljobs.com. Shout out to Cheryl Bender, the administrative officer for the city of Long Beach, for sharing that. And apparently the schooljobs.com does list some of the kinds of things you're talking about, like janitorial, et cetera, et cetera. And even in this sort of free-falling economy, even in the Trump tariff era, she says the schools are still always hiring and having trouble filling those jobs. So I don't know. Maybe you want to try that.
Yeah, well, usually I'm having a problem trying to get an interview. Once you put an application in on the computer, they never end up calling you back for an interview on some of these jobs. That's why I was hoping that it would be a way, because that new stadium over there, the Clippers got, I know it's, plenty of security jobs over there.
Well, there's three possibilities. One, go to the union, go to try to get into the security union. I don't know if they're using union labor over there. Happy May Day. But the other thing is, you might want to go to a work source center or something and look at the resume or get some help, because Now, that's the other thing Ms. Bender was talking about, is now they have these programs where they just put your resume through AI, and if what you said in your cover letter and resume doesn't match up with the keywords and skill sets that they're asking for in that job description, you're not going to get called. I've experienced that myself, applying for jobs. This is a long time ago, Tavis. Applying for jobs where I'd put in a resume and you never get called. And I'm saying to myself, I doubt there's anyone more qualified than me for that position. Maybe there is, but it's highly unlikely. But then I realized that we're being screened out by artificial intelligence, which has a formula, and so now there are experts that can help you make your resume match the formula, or you could put your resume through artificial intelligence yourself. Ask ChatGPT, does this resume match this job description, and see, or ask it to modify your resume to match the job description, see what it does, and then fix it, have the last edit yourself.
Yeah, well, I was going through the libraries. They had them closed for a couple of days, so I may have to pop back up on one and see how that works. Thanks, Dominique, for your time. We all trying to just be able to pay the rent.
Yeah, well, that's why folks are out protesting, marching, and celebrating. International Workers' Day today. It's not just rhetoric. We're in a time when folks are under a lot of pressure, and we understand budget cuts. It's especially in the city of LA, but it's going on everywhere. But the fact is, if you don't have workers that are able to pay to buy your products and services, billionaires, the whole thing falls apart. You can't just defund the people and fund the billionaires. It's not even a sustainable capitalist model, because capitalism depends on us buying your stuff. Somebody's got to buy the Teslas. Somebody's got to buy the products on Amazon. And if we don't have no money, if you continue laying off all of these federal workers, taking away job protections, it's defunding scientists who work at university. Who's going to buy your stuff? Don't make me cuss on the radio. Who's going to buy your stuff? This has never made any sense to me. That is one of the reasons why I don't understand, in a most basic sense, the idea of predatory capitalism. What is that? That's a term, I think, coined by Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who's an economist, which means I'm not against a capitalist model in a mixed economy where there's a floor. Everybody has a place to live. Everyone has education and health care. That's the floor. Call that democratic socialism or a mixed socialist model. And then if you want to go and make your billions or whatever, do that. I'm not going to stop you. But you should be paying your fair share into the commons, which most billionaires are not. They use more of the roads, more of the water, more of the energy, more of the human resources. They should be paying their fair share of taxes. But a predatory capitalist model is where you squeeze every drop of blood, every ounce of work, every dollar and every dime out of every worker to maximize profits in a way that is a sort of endless zero-sum, infinite expansion game. That's not realistic. These stockholders and shareholders, these corporate owners that think that you can infinitely continue to increase your profit margin are living in a fantasy land. That's not how the universe works. There's no that's a predatory model, because what do I have to do? I have to start cutting wages, benefits, squeezing workers, crushing unions, because it's the only way to magically, endlessly continue to increase your profit margin. If you've got a business that's humming along, it's profitable, it's generating billions or millions, that should be a mark of success. Endless and infinite growth should not be the measuring stick, because it's not realistic. It's not sustainable. It's anti-scientific. It's like thinking that, you can take infinite resources out of the planet, which some folks do seem to have that impression, that you can just mine and mine and mine and do deep sea mining and deplete the ocean floor and deplete the water table, which the groundwater, and continue to pollute and more and more and more plastics and microplastics into the environment, and that it's an infinite and endless resource. That doesn't make sense. It's like thinking you can withdraw infinite money from your bank account. Even Elon Musk can't do that. Even the richest men in the world can't do that. Endless and infinite growth is stupid, unsustainable, and necessitates the exploitation, the uber exploitation, not just the company, the adjective, of the workers. Happy May Day from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Kent County Prosecutor's Office rested its case in the second-degree murder trial of former officer Christopher Schur. Defense witnesses claimed the shooting of a black man, Patrick Loyoya, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, was reasonable, but Professor Seth Stoughton testified Loyoya never had an advantage over the officer.
There was no ability, there was no physical capacity for Mr. Loyoya to incapacitate the officer with anything.
Loyoya was shot in the head during an April 2022 traffic stop. Hey, it's National Mental Health Awareness Month. It aims to provide tools, resources, and education to the public to improve mental health access and reduce stigma. Mental Health America and other organizations host events and webinars to promote mental health. And the 2025 Summer Stage Concert Series lineup is being announced. New York City's Park Foundation says The Roots, Rakim, and more will hit the stage. Free performances start June 4th with the exception of ticketed benefit concerts in Central Park. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
For the second year in a row, the Lakers were eliminated in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And for the second year in a row, LeBron James said he has a lot to think about regarding next season. Minnesota's 103-96 win at Crypto.com Wednesday night finished off the Lakers in 5 games. After the loss, LeBron was asked about next season. He said he doesn't have an answer to that question. LeBron said he needs to have a conversation with himself and his family. I'm going to put it out here right now. There's a very real possibility that we may have seen LeBron James play his last game. He's 40 years old. In 22 NBA seasons, he has accomplished everything any player could ever dream of. He has nothing more to prove and nothing to shoot for other than an NBA championship. And the way the Lakers roster is constructed, LeBron knows as well as anybody, a Lakers title could be several years away. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. With so many shows on our station weekdays and weekends, it's hard for me to keep track of all the guests who are actually in studio on any given day. I wish I'd known in advance that LADA Nathan Hochman was coming in studio for a recent interview. Had I known, I would have loved to have personally greeted him and then asked him why LA City Council member Curran Price is being criminally prosecuted for allegations of misconduct similar to the conflict of interest violations for which former City Council member Kevin De Leon is only being fined. What's that about, Mr. DA? In fairness to Mr. Hochman, it was former DA George Gascon who actually filed felony charges against Councilman Price. I opined then on how these criminal charges against Price did not pass the smell test. I was concerned then that this was yet another wayward prosecution of a high-profile black elected, not to mention a waste of taxpayer money. I am even more convinced now that this is a hot mess. To be clear, neither you or I want a bunch of self-serving, greedy, conflict of interest criminals managing the people's business inside LA City Hall. But we also don't want selective or targeted prosecution of black politicians. We've seen that movie before, and we don't need a sequel. It's hard to watch Kevin De Leon get away with paying an $18,000 fine for repeated ethics violations, what he calls an oversight, and at the same time, watch the DA's office continue its criminal prosecution of Kern Price for issues allegedly involving his wife's clients. Motions, I might add, that were passed unanimously by the LA City Councilman. What are you saying, Tavis? I'm glad you asked. DA Hochman did not start this inquisition, but he certainly has the power to stop it. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Fundamental fairness. In the absence of fundamental fairness, we experience a cascade of deteriorating conditions. The erosion of trust, the weakening of social cohesion, alienation, marginalization, the legitimacy of authority diminishes, cynicism and disengagement grow, and ultimately, people abandon civic participation altogether. Fundamental fairness, Mr. Hochman, that's all we ask. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the number one cause of stroke. 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
You are, and I'm so glad you're here. Man, so much to talk about. Where to start? Well, I am going to preface this by saying I believe we win, okay? And I started saying that this week because I need us to stay in that victorious mentality and get away from the victim mentality. Even when people are trying to victimize you, if you knock them out, you are still the victor, right? So I say that because we see Trump and Elon Musk and this one and that one coming for us. Doesn't mean they win the battle. Doesn't mean they win the war. Means we got to suit up, show up, fight. Means we got to stay conscious, stay connected, stay brave. Courage is contagious. Got to remember that. We have to be part of spreading courage faster than they are spreading measles. Okay. But here's the thing. We can. I remember me and Dick Gregory, the late great Dick Gregory, used to have a saying, because most of us have heard, if you're black, you got to be twice as good to get half the credit, or twice as good to get any credit, however folks say it. And me and Dick Gregory used to say that we needed to add a second part to that. If you're black in America, you got to be twice as good to get half the credit. And this was the addition. But fortunately, that's not hard for us because God has given us so many blessings. So you face the objective reality, meaning the objective reality, meaning we are being attacked. We are under authoritarianism. Fascism is here. It's not a maybe. It's not a perhaps. It's here now. We're not heading for a constitutional crisis. We are in a constitutional crisis. But we will win. We will prevail. We're going to have to do the work. And yes, it's vast and daunting, but everything can change in the wink of an eye. That's what we know about the universe. That's what we know about the world. It's vast, it's daunting, but we always show up. We always suit up. We do the work. Even while we're busy disparaging ourselves and saying, we ain't ish. Nah, we win this. We win the long game. We win the battle. Okay, that said, this was my preamble for a reason. Elon Musk is said to be leaving Doge, right? Doge, Department of Grifters for Elon, as I call it. The official title is Department of Government Efficiency. Those are the folks that have been cutting everybody's jobs, getting rid of subsidies for farmers, ending the USAID program, which gives us soft power in the world by helping other people. As I say, you break it, you fix it. We go into a country, we break it. USAID comes back in there and tries to at least pick up some of the pieces. All of these things, this is just a short list. But even though he's leaving, the damage is done. A lot of stuff is broken, but not just that. He's got the data. And I keep saying this. I've been saying it over and over again because you don't put that genie back in the bottle. Once this dude, this predatory capitalist, gets all of this data, you think he gives it back when he leaves, along with his card key and his Doge email? No, my friends, he does not. He has that data. In fact, there's one whistleblower who has cited seeing with his own eyes some of these little, I call them little because, they're young. These young criminals, I call them criminal because maybe many of them have criminal records that have nothing to do with their affiliation with the 34-time felon who's in the White House. They have their own separate, independent, self-made crimes on their resumes. This guy has reported seeing these little Dogesters walking out of various departments with backpacks full of laptops stuffed with data. If big tech are vampires, data is the blood that they need to live. Your data is the blood that they suck out of everywhere. Their apps, our browsing history. Now it's going beyond what we willingly put out there, even, when we don't realize it, by saying, yes, I agree to terms and conditions, and publicly browsing and using Google instead of DuckDuckGo, which, I'm guilty of, et cetera, et cetera. Now we're getting into stuff that you thought was private. Your medical records, your social security records, banking. And what Doge has been doing is going from agency to agency to agency, getting data, which is normally not only private, but siloed between agencies, meaning that Health and Human Services is not supposed to share your data with the IRS. The IRS not supposed to share your data with Social Security. Now they're going around getting it from everybody so that they can have a comprehensive master database of all our stuff. I know I sound paranoid today. I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but right about now, the truth is stranger than fiction. And this stuff is clearly unconstitutional, probably illegal, but they're doing it anyway. And so, sighing relief that Mr. Apartheid 2.0, Elon Musk, is leaving the building is delusional. The damage is done, and the little Dogester kids are still there, scooping up laptops full of data, day by day by day, and creating this master database, which, as Julia Angwin, who's an opinion writer for the New York Times, points out, could be used to create a dossier on anyone that upsets the Republican Party, its current leader, anyone who they want to target, take down, whatever. They can get compromising information. Everybody has something that they don't want on the cover of the New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, that could potentially compromise them. They've already said they're already going through IRS records, investigating immigrants. You've already seen IRS folks stepping down in protest of this, and they are doing something that is typically associated with dictators. Getting all the data, creating a surveillance state, getting all the data, private, public, and otherwise, aggregating it, and then putting it in a master base so that they can use it to control and intimidate citizens. Since the presidency of this second Trump term has begun, they have already started, the Doge people have started merging all of this data, IRS, Department of Health and Human Services, Social Security Administration, into a master database, which will cross-reference and create these incredible troves of information. This is what privacy advocates have been warning about. This is what conspiracy theorists and people who are just paying attention have been concerned about, because it's not just the data that we purposely agree to on apps. This is deeply private, personal, and in some cases supposedly legally protected data. There's a law professor in Georgetown who called something like this the database of ruin. And apparently the courts are making some moves to stop it. We'll see if Doge and Trump comply. We already know they're willing to defy the Supreme Court, as they've done in the Kilmore-Abrego-Garcia case. And they haven't yet been able to get the data from the National Security Agency, the CIA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the Trump administration just fired the NSA chief, so this could be on the way. All of this master database is being aggregated under the Department of Homeland Security. Welcome to the new, not just authoritarian fascist state, but the new surveillance state. I think that part of my rhetoric about we win has to do with paying attention to stuff like that and pushing back. We've got to be pushing back right now with our lawmakers. Wake up out of your daze. Hopefully the fact that Vice President Harris decided to give a speech yesterday is indicative of the idea that some of these lawmakers are ready to wake up out of their daze and do something. Do something about it. Stop these folks from accessing the intelligence agency data. They're not going to put back Social Security. They're not going to put back Health and Human Services. But at least you can, because even when these big intelligence agencies claim to be surveilling foreign terrorists or whatever, they are gleaning loads of information about Americans. Not to mention gleaning loads of information, even outside of that context, of activists in this country. So right now is a moment where we, at least can put pressure on our lawmakers, at least make an effort. Shoot, they have more to lose than we do probably, to stop Doge from getting access to the intelligence agency information, which includes so much sensitive and critical data on everyday Americans. It's a perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it
inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected, supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number because Ray, he's going to text it live and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Oh, man. Yeah. We have such a talented team here at KBLA. Miles and I were just talking about that Zoe Williams show, which will have Ray Grady and Ron G. That's going to be a great show. I'm going to try to go. I'm going to go in disguise. And Miles, I was thinking about you. I'm so grateful for you. You do an amazing job. We work hard. We suit up. We show up. And you are always got my back when everything falls apart over here. Y'all wouldn't know it because Miles be smoothing things out. Much appreciated.
Already appreciate you.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we'll go. Let's go to that. We should roll and support those folks that are always supporting us. Who was it in the YouTube chat at KBLA 1580? Oh yeah, Morris says Morris Phillips, the people of Burkina Faso are ready to join the military to protect Captain Ibrahim Traore. I'm impressed. And we were talking about that yesterday, that yesterday was a day of protest, well, the last couple days, in support of Burkina Faso after in a coup attempt about a week and a half ago, and also just the pressure and demonization of Traore by the Western nations who are angry that he's kicking France out, and that not only him kicking France out, but others doing so because Traore has expelled the French military from Burkina Faso and canceled their deals, those deals which were forcing Burkina Faso to continue to pay money to its colonizers. These are the same moves that other West African nations like Mali are trying to make. They have redirected national wealth to developing their country, including their education and healthcare, improving food security, and they're doing so, like many other rebellious nations, under sanctions from the West, particularly the U.S. So people did march. It did happen yesterday, and I guess in the day before as well. That coup attempt was April 21st, so about 10 days ago. Thousands of people, not just in Burkina Faso, but in South Africa and other places, marched saying, hands off the AES, hands off the Sahel states. There were demonstrations in Ghana and in Liberia as well. And it shows you how Africans with their own, everyday worries that they're dealing with as they face the repercussions of what our government is doing. They still have time. They're making time. They're standing with Burkina Faso. So that's brilliant. And I think it's interesting that there were some demonstrations here as well. I don't have all the data on that. I know there was one in New York City, but we'll find that. And of course, in Ouagadougou, which is the capital of Burkina Faso. That's fun to say. Ouagadougou. Yeah, maybe we'll get to go there one day, Miles. People gathered in nation squares. They were in Nation Square. They were waving their flags and condemning the attacks on their government. And I wonder if they realize that the eyes of African Americans, many Black Americans, are tracking the emergence of a defiant leader who harkens back to the days of Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and other leaders of African independence who were many times regime changed or assisted in regime change by the United States in order for the U.S. and other Western powers to continue to have a chokehold on the incredible riches of Africa. Morris says Burkina Faso is a ish-hole country. Sure. But B. Bell says liberate the Congo, and that's part of it. This is part of the legacy of the United States and other Western powers, not only putting African nations in debt traps so that they are saddled with this World Bank debt, which allows the international bankers to dictate their internal policies, saddled with terrible deals for their resources, being forced to pay reparations to colonizers in the French, and being stripped of their resources by Western powers that include the UK, include the Dutch, include the French, and the United States of America. Oh, let's not forget the Germans, as Dominique has flashbacks to Zimbabwe. We are going to West Africa this year. You're coming with. We're going in June. Me and Miles are hitting the road along with African Focus Incorporated. That trip sold out quick. So if you're planning to go in 2026, planning to come with us, literally come, the minute you hear about it, go ahead and sign up because it's selling out quick. And we're not going to expand it and make it bigger, bigger, and bigger. We like it to be a family trip with the whole vibe. And we will be broadcasting from there. And I will be posting on social media, and we will be sharing with you in every way that we can so that you can come with us virtually if you're not coming with us literally. Because there is nothing like seeing and hearing those stories in real time on the ground. I know, Miles, you have a different perspective after actually going to Kenya, going to Tanzania, going to Zanzibar. And then when we were reading the U.S. press reports about what was happening in Kenya while we were in Kenya. And it just gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, 100%. So, definitely if you can make it, be sure you get there and get your firsthand experience. And everybody should go hit the mother continent at least once before they out of here is what I'm hearing. So I think a few times is the minimum in my opinion, but at least once. So, yeah, sign up.
Yeah, I mean, even, when you saw the reports about what was happening in Kenya, they made it sound like that the whole place was burning and it was total chaos. No, yeah. There was targeted protests happening at the parliament because of an egregious law that's similar to things we have going on right now, right here.
I was getting calls from people like, man, are you okay? Are you safe? Do we need to send it? Like, no, we're at the hotel. We're chilling right now. We're about to go. We're on a safari, y'all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And not only that, they missed the fact that a lot of that was driven by very young people, college students, very similar to what happened here with the Palestine protests. Forensic accountant says the people of Burkina Faso ought to be concerned about the presence of the Wagner Group. How defiant are you when you have a Russian military presence in your country? You're trading one master for another. Except for, and that's true. The Wagner Group, they are Russian. They're really Russian. They're not even just a military group. They're under control of Russia. But people say the same thing about China, but it isn't the same, because even though it is concerning, they are there at the behest of that government, as opposed to just inviting themselves in and colonizing. And the deals that they are making are different. The deals that the Chinese are making are different than the gun to your head deals that many of the Western powers are making. That's thus the emergence of BRICS. Okay, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Or maybe next hour, because political scientist Dr. Melina Abdullah joins me. Yeah, let's talk about it next hour. Call me, 800-920-1580. News, traffic, and sports. Then more. You know where you are. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The King County Prosecutor's Office rested its case in the second-degree murder trial of former Officer Christopher Schur. Defense witnesses claimed the shooting of a black man, Patrick Loyoya, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, was reasonable, but Professor Seth Stoughton testified Loyoya never had an advantage over the officer.
There was no ability, there was no physical capacity for Mr. Loyoya to incapacitate the officer with anything.
Loyoya was shot in the head during an April 2022 traffic stop. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. It aims to provide tools, resources, and education to the public to improve mental health access and reduce stigma. Mental Health America and other organizations